Women, Wealth and Faith. I'm Asha Mathen. I've been a career banker and currently advise clients on managing their investments. Let me begin with a simple question. How many of us were taught growing up, just save money, put it in the bank, don't spend unnecessarily? That was good advice. But may I gently ask, is saving alone enough? Saving versus investing, what's the difference? Saving is nothing but storing money, or to put it simply, accumulating money. But investing is actually growing money. Saving is like keeping grain in a barn. Investing is like sowing that grain into the field so that it multiplies. If I keep 1 lakh in a bank account earning 3 to 4%, it feels safe. But if inflation in India is 6 to 7%, what is happening quietly? Your money is losing value. Today, 1 lakh buys groceries, school fees, electricity, maybe even a small vacation. 10 years later, the same 1 lakh will buy much less. So technically, we did not lose money, but we lost purchasing power. And isn't that disappointing? Let's take a biblical lens on wealth. In Matthew chapter 25, in the parable of the talents, the servant who buried his talent was not praised for keeping it safe. He was questioned for not multiplying it. God never condemned increase. He condemned fear-driven inaction. As women of faith, we sometimes spiritualize caution. We say, I don't want to take risks. But wise investing is not gambling. It is stewardship. Psalm 24 says, the earth is the Lord's. We are managers, not owners. If God has entrusted resources to us, whether 10,000 rupees or 10 crores, the question is, are we multiplying it wisely? Now, in the Indian context, there's a familiar story I came across recently. A Christian school teacher in Chennai faithfully saved in a recurring deposit for 20 long years. Very disciplined, very sincere. But she never invested beyond fixed deposits. After retirement, she realized medical expenses had doubled, household costs had tripled, and her savings were just not sufficient. Now contrast that with another lady, a homemaker in Kochi, who began SIP, systematic investment plans, of just 3,000 rupees a month in mutual funds when her children were small. She prayed before every financial decision, she learned, she asked questions, and she invested. 20 years later, that modest SIP grew into a significant corpus, enough for children's education and her own security. Same faith, different financial outcomes. Why? Because one saved, the other invested. Let's make it very clear, financial independence is not rebellion. Financial independence is not disobedience, it is dignity. In Proverbs chapter 31, the virtuous woman who buys fields, she trades profitably, she strengthens her household. She's not passive, she's strategic. And many Indian Christian women manage entire homes, budgets, school fees, parents' medical care, yet they shy away from learning about equity mutual funds, asset allocation, risk management, portfolio management, so on and so forth. So is money just a man's subject? Or is stewardship everyone's calling? Please remember, inflation is the silent thief. Inflation is like termites in wooden furniture. You don't see them daily, but damage is happening quietly. Investing in growth assets like equity mutual funds, balance fund, well-planned portfolios, investments in gold, overseas investments, investments in commodities, helps your money outpace inflation over time. Not recklessly, but prayerfully and professionally. Faith and planning go together. Some say God will provide, Yes, he does. But remember Joseph in Egypt. He stored grain during 7 good years for 7 years of famine. In Genesis chapter 4 verse 1, foresight saved a nation. Should we not also plan for children's education, retirement, health care, supporting ministry, leaving a legacy? We need a gentle call to action. If something happens to your spouse tomorrow, are you financially confident? Do you know where your money is invested? Is your wealth aligned with your values? Wealth is not about luxury. It is about security. It is about generosity. It is about freedom to serve without fear. And when women understand money, families become stable. And when families are stable, churches become stronger. And when churches are stronger, communities flourish. That is kingdom economics. So let us save, yes, but let us also invest wisely. Let us pray and let us also plan. Let us trust God and let us steward faithfully. Because faith without wisdom can become passivity, and wealth without faith can become pride. But when women, wealth, and faith come together, that is powerful. Thank you.